What the hell is Chris Demont? Well, we're actually live, but we can just bring it, I guess. I'm just gonna post the link up so that people come in and they could check it out.
All right.
Hold up. I'm gonna try something different now.
We're not live.
You guys should see the screen, I think. Hold up.
We're not live though.
It says now we are.
Now we
We're
are.
live, yeah. Do you guys see the screen though?
Yes.
You guys see the screen,
Not-
right? Like
yeah.
.com and everything.
Yeah.
All right. I just gotta post the link up and everything. But right now we're live officially, so I guess we can start talking about it.
All right.
Sounds like a good thing.
Yeah.
So let's start it up, Sal.
This is the RSN podcast right here. Right now I'm trying to invite everybody. Let's see if everybody gets the link or something, But this is our first ever live stream. Basically, we're just talking about Wrestlemania weekend, NXT Takeover, and Wrestlemania, and also the Hall of Fame, which happens tomorrow, I believe. Also, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's just start off with the WrestleMania card. I mean, it's pretty stacked. If you see all the matches, there's a lot of matches. There's a pre-show. There's also a big end of the show. Also, there's a lot of stuff happening afterwards too. There's the pre-show and then the main show. For the first time ever, the pre-show is going to actually show up on USA, which is a big deal, I guess. Because
That's only 6 to 7 though.
6. Yeah, no, it's 5 to 7, isn't it?
5.
It's technically it's like they promote it as what 7 hours of
Something like that. 6, 7 hours.
7 hours of entertainment. So I don't know how they're splitting it up.
From what I saw, 5 to 6, it's on the network. 6 to 7 is on USA,
Yeah.
and then 7 is the show.
Yeah. This would probably be a good time to also formally introduce ourselves because
That is true.
Well, I mean, this is this is our live stream, so anybody that comes on, you get to see, what's going on. But for now, if you guys are tuning in, this is Sal right here. I'm just the guy behind RSN, the video and editing and all that stuff. We got my main man, Rich over here.
What's up, guys? This is Rich.
Big man, another big part of RSN. Also, we got the biggest part right here, Nick.
What's going on, people?
And we got the best site with all the best content on it, reviews, and you name it all. The Pro Wrestling Opinion. Would you like to talk about that for our viewers?
Yeah, sure. I am the owner, editor-in-chief of ProWrestlingOpinion.com, where we offer in-depth, segment-by-segment breakdown of various television shows, whether it's mainstream stuff like WWE, or the independent stuff like Pro Wrestling Syndicate or West Coast Wrestling Connection. We pretty much cover anything on a national spread, and it's good because I get to watch pretty much 20 hours of wrestling a week, give or take, and I can see how the products are evolving over time and seeing the overall storylines and progression of characters, jumping from company to company. It really gives you a full-on perspective of the year, and now you could see it written down, and in case you want results or previews, reactions, things like that, come to my site. You'll get all of that and more. And we're also looking for writers. If you happen to know anyone on the global circuit who is interested in covering anything, I'm down for that. So just spreading the word.
And you can also check out our other podcasts, other stuff, also on Nick's site. But we also have it on our YouTube page, YouTube RSN. And also, be sure to also check out our Facebook page. We're also posting a lot of updates, different kind of things. And we also might have some different future live streams, podcasts, anything like that. We'll be announcing that on our Facebook pages. Well, let's start off with the WrestleMania preview. Well, right now they got a whole stacked card right now. From what I guess, there's a lot of different matches going on. Championship matches, regular matches, and also the infamous and very, very long-standing match with The Undertaker facing off against an opponent. Who's that opponent this year? You guessed it. It's the biggest headline match of the year of the whole pay-per-view, Shane McMahon and The Undertaker. So what I'll do, I guess we'll just start from the bottom going up. Let's start with the preview. I think they were announcing 3 matches. They were going back to back with the booking about the first 3 matches for the pre-show. I think it was for sure. They said the third annual Under the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is the first match. Is one of the matches that are going to be there.
No, that's actually on the main card now.
That's on the main card now.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
official.
what? That's weird.
It's probably gonna be like a buffer match, kind of in between, maybe like the ladder match and maybe another big card match. I can't see it being like a main attraction.
I mean, if you look at
Okay, this is the 3 matches on the pre-show. Kalisto versus Ryback.
Oh yeah.
Total Divas versus Bad and Blonde. The
Oh, God.
Usos versus the Dudleys. Those are the 3 pre-shows.
I don't even want to know what that Divas match is.
oh, right. We don't want to do that.
No, coming from PWO perspective, about 8 days behind on my coverage, but I've been reading the sites. I know the card. Anyone who's been watching WWE since post Roadblock pretty much knows which way the card is going to go, and you don't even really have to watch the shows. You kind of already know what's going to happen. I really hope that they do enough to stray away from the usual formula, but sometimes I have doubts about that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all the news outlets, they're always like promoting it. I mean, if you saw the New York Stock Exchange, who came up? It was the Wire family. They showed up there, they rang the bell. I mean, they're in the mainstream right now. In the past 3-4 days, they've been doing a lot of media. It's crazy. And it's like they've been going here, there. They've been on CNN. They've been almost everywhere, every single network, talking about WrestleMania 32. It being their biggest show.
ESPN covers it now.
And there's SportsCenter's going to be there too. That's one big thing. I mean, they were there last year, weren't they too?
Yeah, but it wasn't that big though.
It wasn't that big a deal. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, because the way that what kind of role are they going to have anyway? I mean, when you look at that, it's kind of it's really small because when you see it, it's not that much happening there. But yeah, I mean, if you look at the way that they're booked it now, they're actually making it into a big spectacle. I mean, not that it's not a big spectacle. It's becoming more bigger and bigger every year. Now they're actually getting into the grid of it and all that other stuff. But I guess, yeah, and plus, if you look at the crowd, now they're saying it's estimated over 100,000 people are going to be there. What do you guys think about that? Is it really going to be 100,000 people? Because from what I heard, they said that the WrestleMania 3, the actual record, was actually tampered. It was actually a wrong record. It was actually falsified. What do you guys think about that?
I think there could be 100,000.
I mean, they said that they could. There's 70,000 capacity, I think, or 80,000 in the stadium for the football games and everything. But when they bring everything in closer and cut the field out and all that stuff, there's actually more room there. So I guess they probably can account for that. But do you think it's probably falsified?
Capacity is 80,000. I can't imagine if you go in any closer, because don't forget, WrestleMania is when they do that big, gigantic-ass stage. That's probably going to take up maybe about half the field. I can't imagine maybe they'll fit like 5,000 more, but if you're talking about 85,000 people in an arena, I mean, that is kind of insane in of itself. But I do know WWE tends to overshoot on their event, their attendance totals. So sometimes WrestleMania 3, they used to brag that it was 93,000 fans in the Silverdome, when some sources were saying they barely had over 70,000. They tend to milk their amounts by the thousands just to get it out there that, oh, hey, this is what we did, but it's in actuality, it's not actually what not what it actually was. And sometimes I feel like WWE is still trying to do that. It's easy to pulp up big publicity when you have big numbers like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the truth. But
so you're saying about 88,000 tops, maybe they might have?
Probably about 90. From what I'm hearing, it's kind of estimated. Like, they'll probably be off like a couple thousand, but they'll just probably bullshit it. But I think that's all the mastermind behind Vince. Because Vince, he's probably looking for that as a platform to try to make them big, like the Super Bowl or anything.
okay, all right. I'm actually looking on a website right now. They said the stadium was completed May 29, 2009. It seats 80,000, but it's also expandable to 111,000. I
So
don't
it's
know
possible.
where, yeah, I don't know where Mania is gonna fall on that spectrum, but if they happen to reach that kind of level, forget about it. But
That's
again,
more than Starcade. That's more like Starcade and the arenas in Japan also. Like Japan, they can fit at least about 90,000 and maybe more.
So it's possible they could probably hit 100,000.
True. Well, I mean, when you talk about that, there's also a lot of people got to file in. You got to make sure people come in, they're seated, they can actually see the show. But in the meantime, let's talk about the
But you
kickoff
think
match.
about it, they also have that giant ass screen in the middle of the field.
Have you seen that? That shit was huge. I mean, when you look
So
at it, it's just.
even the worst seat in the house, you could still see because of that screen.
I mean, the way if you've seen the screen, it's pretty. They posted a video on the site, which I'm trying to load up right now. But there was it's pretty big. When you look at it, it's pretty it's humongous. That screen is just like I mean, if you were sitting all the way at the top, definitely you would see everything. You wouldn't miss a
That
single thing.
screen is Nick. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you're kind of a big sports fan also, outside of wrestling. Isn't that like
hmm
a 40 yards that screen?
yeah, it is kind of up there in length. Yeah, it's pretty long, but
I mean,
that's
look at
gonna
the
be
size of that. That's pretty crazy, isn't it?
yeah, that's crazy. But I don't know like what their plans are. I don't know how the stage is gonna look. I don't know what the setup is gonna look like, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be epic. Probably Dallas, Texas related. I'm sure there'll be like a flying cowboy hat somewhere in there. Not really sure how to tell, but we'll eventually find out Sunday night.
Yeah, but we'll see from maybe tomorrow night or later on. But they're working very diligently. Like they're probably pressured right now to continue and keep moving with this. Because the more sooner it keeps coming, the more pressure is being put onto them. Plus, it's
Because this is the
production.
latest they ever started setting up.
Yeah, they haven't set that up either. And it's pretty weird. They haven't they're pretty chilled out about this. Like this isn't a big deal. But I sense something big happening. But anyway, I mean, if you look at the card right now. There's three kickoff matches, as Rich was saying. There's Kalisto versus Ryback for the belt, U.S. belt. There's the Total Divas and Team Bad and Blonde match, and there's also the Usos versus the Dudley Boys match. First off, I want to start off. Who do you guys think is
Wait.
gonna win? What
Team
happened?
Bad and Blonde. Oh God, it's I haven't even watched last week's run. I can already tell. I'm guessing this is probably Naomi, Tamina, and Lana against Brie Bella, Alicia Fox, and what's that other one's name?
Natty.
I'm right so far, right?
Yeah,
You're actually
Yeah, I've seen
missing
this.
two people on each team.
Paige and
Oh God, don't. I've seen a lot of Eva Marie photos the
Yep.
past week. I really hope.
yep,
Oh
that's the big news.
God, why?
But yeah, if you look on the recent week's Raw, there were some big things. A lot of talk. Wouldn't want to speculate that because of course you got to cover that on Pro Wrestling Opinion. But basically, the big thing happened. It kind of was a shock to the world. A lot of things backstage too, but that's pretty much all we can say. But as far as the result of this match, what do you guys think? Do you guys think this will make an influence on women's wrestling? Because you got to think about this. This is how they're going to start the show. They're going to end the show with the triple threat for the Divas belt. So what do you guys think? Is it really going to make a difference on building momentum for that match?
No,
Not really.
no. It will be like
It's one of those Thor matches where it's like,
This is a piss break match, basically.
yeah, this is basically just okay, fine. Let's try to involve as many people as we can for like a allotted amount of time, and just say okay, they're on the show. But I guess they're kind of disappointed. They're probably like, it could have been on the main show. They could have done something, but
Well, the only good thing about this match, though, is this is Lana's first wrestling match.
that's good. That's true, yeah. But I mean, they're trying to involve Total Divas, and if you look at their ratings recently, they've been going pretty down now. Like if you look at it, every week's been something. I bet Kevin Dunn, he's probably shitting himself right now, looking at himself and pulling his hair, saying, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" It's pretty bad.
The only positive thing, like I said, is this is Lana's first match.
But Lana's first match, but she's immensely protected because she really doesn't have to do much in the ring. She could just like take a few bumps and then tag out. Probably never see her in the match again, and we
Kind of like with
probably
JoJo.
yeah. I'm probably gonna end up having to drink a lot during this match, maybe to even have to tolerate it. I don't know.
It was
I mean,
basically
yeah,
like with JoJo at SummerSlam Survivor Series a couple years ago.
but I
She
guess it's
came
their way
in, fought
of
for a couple minutes, and that was it.
yeah. I mean, I guess it's just their way of trying to involve more people. But if you see Lana, they probably don't feel that she's ready. But this might be a start for her to be
She's
ready.
been ready for a couple months, they said, though.
Yeah, I mean they haven't they pushed her as this super diva, like they want to make her the female John Cena. But then if you look at the other side, they got another person that they have in line. So it seems like they're trying to do something, but you already know who's probably going to be better for that job. And the way that they're doing, they're kind of making it limited, and they're kind of favoring one person over the other. And I think you guys know who I'm talking about. But we'll have to see,
Well,
what
this might
happens.
be, well, everyone probably knows this already, but supposedly this is supposed to be one of Bree's last matches.
Yeah, so that might be one
Because
of the
she
things.
was supposed to retire in the summer, I think they said.
It could be the send-off.
Most
This could be
likely.
the send-off.
The way they
I
have it,
mean, yeah,
it
they
looks
probably
like
could have the happy ending.
most likely. And I mean, she wanted a kid, so I mean, that's probably what she's trying to do. But anyway, well, let's just start out with this. What do you guys think is going to be the result for this one? Total Divas or Team Bad and Blonde?
Can I throw a third result in there? Who gives a shit?
I guess, yeah.
In reality, I say probably Total Divas.
Yeah, Total Divas, because the TV show. I don't really have anything else that could really add to that. Total
I
I
got,
don't
Divas
think
because the
anyone
TV show.
does.
I got telepathy. I can already, what I can do? I'm probably picturing this right now. This has Kevin Dunn written all over it. And you know what's going to happen? Most likely he's going to say, okay, this is our chance of getting Total Divas a platform. And this is probably what he's trying to do. So I say same thing, Total Divas for sure.
All right, next.
Next match.
A
So
match
for
that
this-
people actually do want to care about.
And that is
Kalisto and Ryback.
for the U.S. belt. Or title, should I say, or championship. Because belt is kind of an old school term, I guess.
I like it. I like it.
Belt.
Belt, I think, yeah.
I like either or.
I like
Either
belts.
or, right? Yeah, because I think and they're too much on semantics. It's just like, okay, they wanted to say the whole thing. Like instead of saying U.S. Championship, they want to say United States Championship. And there's a lot of different stuff. It's just like, come on, man. Like, we all get the point. It's not like we're all, scrubs that are just watching the show for the first time ever. We know
We've
pretty
been
much.
fans for basically our lives. We
And
know what
everybody,
the belt is.
yeah, and everybody probably, most of the people, and here's a really crazy part. Most of the fans in that attend WrestleMania are actually diehard fans. Like those are fans that have followed the product for a while. So, WWE they're trying to get some of his attention, but they pretty much set themselves up for something. It's going to be a spectacle. We already know that. But anyway, talking about this match, the Luchador versus the big bollock buff
Powerhouse.
cloud, Geodude. Yeah.
I say the outcome of this match, probably Kalisto.
Kalisto, you
The
think
way-
he's going to do Mysterio?
The way they've been pushing him.
Yeah, I also say Kalisto. Yeah, but this is the thing. It's weird because from the storyline and how I've seen it, Ryback is starting to revert back to his heel kind of character that didn't work the year and a half that they tried it. Rybacksel. But I don't know really where it's gonna go. I think it's just a cop-out way to give Kalisto a notable victory. But I really hope Ryback just stops this whole big guy, little guy.
Just like the show that we went to last week.
Yeah, I'm not really buying this. It doesn't work for his character. It feels weird. Ryback should just be like a pretty easy baby face that he just goes out, has good matches, and that's that. Don't add any layer because he can't push a good promo. It's not intriguing, and that's what hinders this feud. But I do think that Kalisto is gonna win based off how he's been pushed. But that's the thing. I don't think he's really been pushed as champion ever since Sin Cara came back. He's been kind of thrown into these six-man matches that don't really have any relevancy to them. And I actually kind of forgot for a second that Kalisto was the United States champion until Ryback made a note of it, and they started. Oh, all right. Well, let's start this feud now. That's just kind of what bothers me a little bit about this feud is that it could mean so much more, and the title doesn't really feel like it matters. It's more about big versus little than it really does about the title. And again, I do see Kalisto winning. I don't know who's going to be the opponent for any other opponents who's going to come for Kalisto after that, but I'm sure it's going to be a good match. I'm not doubting that. I just think the storyline could have been a lot better. And I also don't really get the whole thing with Ryback trying to turn Kalisto against Sin Cara. That could bleed into the finish. I don't know if maybe Sin Cara could turn on his partner, cost him the title.
I don't think so.
Maybe they do Kalisto Sin Cara at Extreme Rules. You never know. You never know these
That
things.
would be a good matchup, though. Sin Cara versus Kalisto.
WWE tends to shake things up a little bit.
It would. It would. I mean, if you look at the way they're booking it, and if you look in the past 3-4 months, they've had this whole feud. And I actually predicted this in the last podcast that was going to be Del Rio versus Kalisto for the belt, and it was continuous. It was a really good feud. If you've seen all the matches that they've had, it's been pretty good. But for some reason, they have this come out of nowhere. It's kind of disappointing because you look at there could have been someone else that was fully, they were fully deserving of this. You could look at all the options, Dolph Ziggler. You could look at Tyler Breeze, but it's like why give Ryback the chance, And it makes no sense now when you have only like a 2-week build. Like, what's the point, But
yeah.
nonetheless, I think Kalisto will pull out his best, his breaking performance, and hopefully we'll see some kind of substance afterwards. But yeah. Little guy beats the big guy over time, and that was shown in if you look in previous years Wrestlemania, I believe it was 25. JBL and Mysterio, out of nowhere. That's it. It's 1, 2, 3, and then JBL quit. He lost the belt. That was a pretty big deal that time. So maybe he's quitting. I don't know, but we'll see.
All right. So
By the way,
predictions. Kalisto.
Yeah.
Kalisto all around.
Mhm.
Kalisto.
Nick.
Yeah, Kalisto.
All right. Third match and the final match of the pre-show. The Usos versus the Dudleys.
I'll step in. Yeah.
If you see, if you see on the tweets, on Twitter. What the hell am I saying? Tweets.
Well, you're not completely wrong.
You tweet on Twitter.
Tweet on Twitter, but the tweet
makes sense.
But you read the tweets, it's like damn, semantics again. But it's like holy crap. But yeah, I mean, if you look at Twitter, like, what you call it? Bubba Ray actually posted like a whole thing, like blasting this, saying that why was he on the why are they on the pre-show and on the actual show? And it's a valid point. I mean, this is one of the greatest tag teams of all time, over like 40 world tag titles, and you're just gonna put them on this match on the pre-show? It doesn't make sense. But I guess they're just trying to build more and more momentum for the main show.
All right, I'm gonna ask a question. Since I haven't watched this last week's, this past week in WWE, I was kind of hoping this would turn into a tables match kind of stipulation. Am I right?
No, it's just
or
a
am I
regular
wrong?
match.
I agree.
Gee, that's lame. With all the allusions to tables, they should have made this a tables match. I'm not doubting that the Usos are probably gonna win this, and we'll probably put the Dudleys through a table. I just don't feel any life with this feud. It feels kind of meaningless.
Ever since
to
they
me.
got rid of the tables, the Dudleys have been boring, though. Although Bubba has been a great heel.
Yeah, that's one thing I do like, but it's not. I don't know. I'm kind of torn.
Going back to that other company, I want Bully Ray back. Nick knows what I'm talking about.
In the company that once was a big company and now it's a little indie promotion.
As people, if you watch the Edge and Christian show a couple weeks ago, they had AJ Styles on, will WWE talk about it? The company that AJ Styles was in for 12 years, from 2002 to 2014.
That was epic. That whole thing, that was epic. It was a straight up diss to them.
I want Bully Ray.
We all do. I
We all
th-
do.
I'm
Yep.
not doubting that well, that's the thing. I don't know if WWE sees him more than just as a tag team guy, but at least it gives me hope that they didn't just pull the Dudleys into this nostalgia act kind of thing, because that was starting to wear its course. So the heel run feels fresh, but I don't know what's going to happen after Mania. I don't know where their characters go, who they feud with. You don't really have a whole array of teams right now that are credible, unless they do some NXT call-ups. This might be a good time for Enzo and Cass to make an appearance.
That's the only team worth getting called up. I really thought they were going to get called up Royal Rumble or something.
I think they were purposely holding out until after Mania to do some call-ups.
The Big Show.
It's just unfortunate with all the injuries that they kind of had to take what they had and make it work, and it's really hard when you don't really build up the guys who should have been built up, but they neglected to do that because in past years Mania was more about the legends than it was about the current stars, and now the legends are pretty much past their wrestling days and they got their appearances and movies and all that. Now you got your current stars who aren't really built up enough, and the ones who are sitting on the injured list. So at the end of the day, what do you really have? That's kind of the dilemma of this whole Mania card, actually, in my opinion. But taking what they've had, you know it's bad when Shane McMahon is wrestling, when they call on Shane McMahon to wrestle to headline a show. Now, I still think the idea of that match is awesome, and I'm sure we'll go into that later, but it should tell you exactly how creative is kind of maybe in a panic mode as far as making things that might attract fans, but it's creating these huge logic gap holes in these storylines that are really glaringly oblivious to reality, and I'll spit my 2 cents about that much later, but as far as what we're talking about, I think Usos Dudleys is going to be a straightforward tag match with little excitement, maybe some big moves, some power moves, and Dudleys will end up going through a table probably afterwards.
Most likely, yeah.
It's probably going to be a one-off program. Like, the feud doesn't really have much life. I don't know what else they can really put into it. They did the thing with Roman Reigns involving him on the SmackDown. That was a week and a half ago. So they went down that avenue. I don't know where else they can go. So hopefully this kind of just dies off after Mania. Unless they do make it a tables match at Extreme Rules, but that's really stretching it for me.
I mean, there could also be the possibility that they have like a turn happening. Maybe that after a disappointing loss to another team. Because if you notice, they've been having loss after loss after loss since they came back. And if they can't, if they have another loss, what's gonna happen? Maybe storyline wise, they could be having a turn happening, and maybe we might be seeing Bubba Ray Dudley having his own heel turn in WWE, which is kind of exciting to think about, you know. But it's true. I mean, this is gonna be probably a good match, but we'll see. What the spots are and all that stuff. But the way that they're being booked is pretty poor. Like they kind of degraded them to a level where it's like Big Show and Kane, how they're being booked. It's just like, okay, they're reliable. They're reliable people. They can build someone. Let's just throw them in there. That's kind of like how they booked it, and it's not, it's pretty detrimental to them. But I guess we'll have to see from there. But win or lose, what do you guys think?
I say Usos just because the Roman Reigns shit. I personally don't give a shit this match.
It's like 2 out of 3. Well, actually, all 3, matter of fact, because it's like, these.
No, I do kind of care about the Kalisto Ryback match because I do like Kalisto.
That's true. I mean, Kalisto, he's obviously one hell of a performer. But I mean, if you look at this whole card,
I actually saw him live at MSG. He's really good. I like him.
He's real dope. If you've seen how he performs, it's he has a lot of potential. To be the next Rey Mysterio, we'd have to see from the future. By the way, Takeover is on right now. Stay with us,
Yeah,
please.
I'm watching it.
Yeah, I'm watching it too as we're going along, but we'll
I
see.
can't. I can't. I'm handcuffed because I'm so behind on my
How
coverage.
many hours? How many hours is this now that you're missing?
Probably about 13, because I'm
13
gonna do a
hours.
hardcore catch up tomorrow and Sunday, just so I could try
God
to
damn.
catch your Mania live. But from what I've seen from the build of Takeover, it looks freaking amazing. Like
I think this might be better than Mania.
yeah, I think it's gonna be better than Mania too. In reality, I'm looking forward to Takeover Dallas and the post Mania of Raw more than anything, and that should really tell you a lot.
You guys also know that ROH has a show tonight and tomorrow, Supercard of
Yeah,
Honor.
Super Card of Honor, which they have some balls doing it in Dallas, but that's neither here nor there. They've always been doing that lately.
Well, WWE's actually done this motion where they want to restrict any other promotions from doing anything close to them to try to divert all the fans. I mean, if you look at Lucha Underground was planning to do something too, but that totally got taken out. But well, that's pretty messed up the way that happened because it's a really fun week for wrestling fans. We get to see a lot of
You get
different things,
13 straight days of wrestling.
and that's one hell of a that's not a cakewalk. That's like it's tiring, but it's worth.
Oh, it's not a cakewalk.
It's
Not
not,
for the
it's,
people who have to cover the shows.
but it's gonna be a pleasure if you're actually there to see the events, be there. Like
Oh, yeah.
imagine people at Access right now. They probably got to see a lot of stuff, and they got to interact with stuff and all that. Pretty good experience. But in addition to that, you look at all the other promotions. They're probably doing a whole bunch of events too, because everybody knows that pro wrestling this week is like the most important week. Everybody knows that something is
There's a
happening.
show happening in Brooklyn right now, an independent wrestling show,
Early?
and on Quinton Road.
Oh shoot, really?
Yeah.
What promotion?
Uh, PWS, not PWS, another one.
Wrestling.
The one that
House of
my
Glory?
friend. No, I forgot what the name of it is.
Warriors of Wrestling?
No,
Tier
Warriors of
1?
Wrestling is in Staten Island.
Tier 1?
Oh, I'm gonna check right now.
I mean, nonetheless, we still gotta talk about
Fighting Spirit Wrestling.
FSW.
FSW. Oh, right. I think I know what that is. That's like Ludus Wrestling. They're like a little
Yeah.
It's
wrestling school.
the company that came out of their school.
Yep. Well, actually, Ludus is the
The
school.
Maximo Brothers.
Yep. I actually know a guy there. He's real cool.
I know a couple guys.
Yep. But it's pretty. Like I said, this whole week is pretty interesting to see what's gonna happen. To be a part of it, it's one hell of a show. One hell of a ride. But nonetheless, there's still after I believe 7 o'clock. There's the main show. Basically, there's a whole other 3 or 4 hours left for the show, and they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 matches. 8 matches after this, in addition to that. So what we'll do is we'll start off, I guess, with the 3 matches right here. So first one is New Day versus League of Nations. What do you guys think about this one? New Day?
New Day. That's my pick right there.
New Day, I agree. What's really crazy, they didn't put the tag belt on the line, which is kind of surprising.
No, it originally was.
It
but
originally
like
was, yeah.
2-3 weeks ago, they took the match out as a title match and just made it as a battle of supremacy.
I mean, when you see this, it's like, what's the point of this match happening? There's no, like, they're building up to it. Are they doing something? We really don't know. But there's also the possibility.
Who knows? Within the next 48 hours, it could be a title match.
It could be. Maybe next night something could happen, but we'll see. But also, in addition, there's another thing that's behind this match also, some backstage stuff. That there's someone leaving the company after
Two people.
Mania. And supposedly it's Wade Barrett, that he's actually leaving the company afterwards.
Him and Del Rio, I heard.
Del Rio too?
Yeah.
I heard just Barrett. Well, Barrett isn't. I don't think he's re-signing his contract at the end of the when it expires mid-year. I don't think he's going to
Do you know who's
sign a
gonna
new
win this?
one.
Do you know who's gonna win this match?
Probably New Day based off their title push
No,
and
the Elite is gonna win.
The Elite,
not
why?
so.
Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks.
What do you think they're gonna run in?
No, but I really think that should happen at next year's Mania, at Interpromotion.
But we'll
We
see.
can dream, but I don't see that happening this year. At least they've been crossing into ROH, so I mean that's the one good thing about it. But yeah, but
But in reality, I think the New Day is gonna win.
I mean, in addition, they have the whole Evolve Wrestling and Progress. They're having the Global Cruiserweight Series, and they're
And
actually
there's
doing
another company doing it in England too.
yeah, there's a lot of UK promotions supposedly. I think WWE's interested in getting those talents, but yeah, I mean, I guess we're
I
all.
already got my pick of who I think is gonna win the Cruiserweight Global Tournament.
What do you think?
Zack Sabre Jr.
What?
Nick knows who he is.
Nah, never heard of it.
Nick, you know him, right?
UK wrestler?
Yep.
yeah, he sounds familiar.
He's
Doesn't
fighting
he-
Kurt Angle.
Oh, him.
He's fighting Kurt Angle tomorrow.
Supposedly there was a guy too. I don't know. By the way, this is a shout out. A wrestler, UK wrestler, died earlier this week. I think. Matter of fact, I think
Travis.
Yesterday.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris
Age of a
Travis.
very young age too, and their stomach cancer. It's tragic. Many names. I think Kevin Owens. A whole bunch. I think a whole bunch of other people. They went to Twitter and they
A
actually.
whole bunch of wrestlers.
Yep. And there's more too. Probably. I think at that time it was like it was fresh. It was like right off the bat. We just heard about it, but it's pretty tragic. But you know we'll see as the show goes on. They'll probably do something like a tribute for that. Maybe they'll post it up. We'll see.
I don't know.
Maybe the next night on Raw, something like that. We'll have to see what happens.
I don't know because he wasn't like a big name. He was never in the company.
True. But like, what about Paraguayo? When he died, I think didn't WWE do like a tribute for that too?
I don't think so.
They
I
didn't.
think they just did
They
a
usually
black
show like a
screen with a
graphic.
picture.
Yeah, like a graphic, don't they?
Yeah, but I don't think they'll do for him though.
Hopefully. I mean, WWE, like Vince has a thing with the indie wrestlers. He kind of like, oh, that's totally different. We're not part of that, and all that
But
stuff.
Triple H loves the indies.
Yep. And the way they have it, this whole indie tournament, there's something coming. But speaking about the indies, free agents and the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, there's a whole lot of names, and we were talking about this, Rich,
There's
earlier.
4 spots left open.
Who are those 4 spots? Supposedly later today there was a rumor that there was a wrestler
Nick,
actually
cover-
coming.
Nick, cover your ears.
Yeah, I'm out.
Well, I mean,
There's 2 names.
let's find
There's
out.
2 names that were spotted.
Yep. Well, I mean, is there any other matches? I think. Wait, hold up. So there's an IC match. There's an AJ Styles match. The Divas match. And,
Title match.
Yep. Pretty much there wasn't much that happened with these other matches, but I think this one there's really like some spoilers. Basically, there's like a whole brewing of news about who are those other 4 remaining,
Well, supposedly there's 2 people who just got medically cleared.
and they might be making a return.
The 2 people who got medically cleared was Cesaro, supposedly, and Superman himself, John Cena.
I think they're gonna. I don't know. It sounds like one of them they'd save for maybe post-Mania Raw.
The 2,
But if
out
Cesaro
of those
is hyped
2,
for-
I'd say Cesaro coming back.
If he's hyped for an April 15th return, what's to stop them from putting him out there April 1st? He doesn't necessarily have to do any moves. He could just be on camera. So I don't know.
I mean, if you see Cesaro, they said that supposedly Cesaro, what he did, he posted up the WrestleMania 32 logo for a year as his wallpaper on his phone, and he was that like motivated to be in Mania. And when he got injured, it was heartbreaking for him. So I mean, could they like fulfill his wish of actually performing? We'll have to see from there. But overall, I mean, this whole match is pretty. If you see in the past 3 years, a lot of different winners. First it was Cesaro, then it was the Big Show.
And this
Was it the Big Show?
is number 3.
Number 3? Yeah, a matter of fact, 2. My bad. Yeah. So this is third right now. But
That's
who do you guys? What's your pick for who's gonna win?
Well, let's
uh,
talk about, before we do the predictions, I have 2 names that should be in the Battle Royal as NXT call-ups, but they probably won't. They're probably
they
going to
did it
save them.
last year.
I say the Enzo and Cass, but I think they're going to come Monday for some reason.
Yeah, they're hyping up the Monday Raw after Mania, and that's usually some big, really big deal. Returns happen, a lot of different changes in the angles and all that other stuff. That's like a turning point basically. But possibly it could. I mean, it could shake up the tag title picture the way that they have it. It could make it a little more interesting now. But I mean, it's pretty unpredictable with this match. There's a lot of different things. And last year there was actually a lot of names hanging around, but it got changed last minute, and we saw something happen. We were kind of disappointed, but it was like, okay, he deserves it, whatever. This year, I feel like it's gonna be the same thing. I feel like it'll be someone that is loyal to WWE. I say Kane. Like I have a
Uh,
feeling that the way he brought
yeah.
Kane,
Well, isn't he
Kane
supposed to be
will win.
retiring?
He's been saying that for like the past 3 years.
Kane was actually my
It's like,
guess
oh,
too, based off the build of what I've seen. And I'm sure Social Outcast will probably be one of the guys eliminated like to win the match. But my gripe about the whole thing is I feel like I mean it's cool to make a tribute to Andre. Of course, he was a big influential star and incredible strength and marquee guy and all that. He did drink like 27 beers, I think, once, or maybe 90,
127.
127. I don't remember the number. That's just a lot of freaking beer. But
127 beers in one sitting.
yeah, I mean, it's cool that they make a tribute to him. But my thing is that
He also deserves it. He was
the
undefeated for
first
17 years.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that the match is about the trophy. The trophy is supposed to be this kind of big accomplishment that leads to maybe like a push.
But it
They
really
set it up
doesn't.
right. Yeah, they set it up right the first year when they had Cesaro, body slam Big Show and eliminate him to win. And oh my gosh, he's got the trophy. He's gonna have this big push, and that didn't exactly happen. Last year, the trophy was kind of just used as a heat magnet for Big Show when he was in the Authority. It was, hey, look, I'm better than Andre the Giant. Ho, ho, ho. But now this year, he's a humbled babyface because he smiles at people now without really turning face. And now he's very humble and he likes the Giant. I don't know really where it's going. Show and Kane have this weird rivalry slash alliance thing happening. Social outcasts are just kind of there on television. I don't really see any other push for anyone else. But based off what I've seen, we've already seen Show win. Cesaro can't win again, so why not just give it to Kane?
That's a logic reason.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel it's a logical point. The way that they're building it, it seems that way. That's what they're probably gonna do. And it's kind of like they're making it like a title. They're making like a championship or as big as like a
But it
wrestling.
but it doesn't mean nothing though. It's just a trophy.
For now, I mean later on might be maybe in the future, but we'll see. But so that leads us into a dream match, and this pretty much any match that this man is in now that he's in WWE is a dream match as far as we're
You don't
concerned.
even have to ask my
I mean, you look
opinion. You don't even have to ask me who I think.
What do you guys think? AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho.
You don't even have to ask me. Everyone, if you know me from past shows, you should know who my pick is.
What do you think? You think it's gonna be the redneck?
It's pretty,
Phenomenal.
yeah,
My
it's pretty easy
my
to,
pick is my pick is phenomenal.
yeah, Jericho always puts guys over at Mania. He did it to Fandango, he did it with CM Punk, now he's in position to do it with Styles. Him and Styles are gonna have a really good match. I have a good feeling about this one. And I was kinda hoping that they were gonna, you know, Y2AJ was a good angle. They didn't start catching fire until that match with the New Day that ended up leading to the angle that broke up the team.
I
But
really thought that they were going to win it, though.
that's how good the match was, you know. But I'm all for, you know, another match per se, because I'm not going to complain. I think they'll put on a really good show with the crowd there. That's going to fall for Styles anyway. Uh, I'm sure it's going to light up, maybe potentially still the show. I don't know, they have a lot of matches on this card, but that's one of the ones I'm looking forward to the most. The feud has been good. Jericho's had his moments. Styles has had his moments. It's been about the chants, the jealousy. He had the burning trash can, the YZUAJ t-shirt. Styles has been getting to Jericho's head. Jericho's been getting to Styles' head. It's kind of just been like a game of one-upsmanship. It's been done really well, and Jericho knows how to really heal it up, and Styles can just take the crowd support and just, you know, bounce off of it. His matches have been getting progressively better. First, he had that one with the New Day on Raw, and then he stole the show with Kevin Owens the following week. He's putting on some really good matches. And I think the feud with Jericho is actually helping him get over as more of a star. Where Styles' character is going to go after this, I don't really know. He's kind of been tattooed to Chris Jericho. But at the same time, I think there's a lot of potential, a lot of places where he can go. I'm dying to see a Kevin Owens, AJ Styles feud, because that's just going to be freaking awesome. Maybe they'll do that around SummerSlam. I'm not too sure. But at least for the time being, Styles Jericho, let's sit back and enjoy the ride. It's been a good feud so far. And
It really
for
has
that, I'm going to
been.
give my nod to Styles.
Yeah, I agree. Same thing. I think Styles is just his time. It's his debut. They have to do that. That's the best way to build him up as a future star. And if you see Vince, he's getting higher and higher on this guy. But I think later on he's gonna be falling for this guy completely because not just the fact that he's from the Indies, but he's a really talented performer. I mean, for his size and his stature, he can do a lot of stuff, and he's a phenomenal performer. Plus, at the era now, they have to make it. But I mean, you got to give props to Jericho. I mean, if it was any other opponent, especially now with all these injuries, Jericho's probably the best pick for to be the opposing side for this match because Jericho he's probably one of the best like heel like if you've seen his heel turn and everything and the way that they like his promos are they're on point, everything is exact, it's perfect, it's like beautiful, pitch perfect. The way that he can perform as a heel, he makes it like roll off straight up smooth, and it's perfect, you know. But yeah, so we're all agreed on that. But next match, so it's gonna be another big match for the second year straight in a row. It's gonna be the IC title ladder match, which is now gonna include 7 performers: Zack Ryder, Stardust, Dolph Ziggler, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Sin Cara, and The Miz. Let me ask you guys first. What do you guys think is gonna be the person that's gonna win right off the bat?
I would like to
Uh,
see Sammy.
I think Owens is going to retain. You can't hype a show as KO Mania and not let the guy win. I do think Zayn is eventually going to win the title, but I do hope that's when Zayn and Owens can have their own match, maybe their own like Extreme Rules match. I would really like to see that be the next storyline coming out of this. The build for it so far has been okay. What they had originally planned was maybe a 5-man ladder match that also probably involved Neville and Miz, Ziggler, Zayn, and Owens, which would have been really good on its own. But with Neville's star power missing, I guess they needed to fill the void and do it in their own way by having Owens, supposedly get out of trying to have a WrestleMania opponent in his own Kevin Owens way and have it, stab him in the back. And now he's got these 3 jobbers who are also in the match. But that's the thing. I feel like it hurts the match's credibility to just shove Stardust, Zack Ryder, and Sin Cara in there. They ain't going to win. Why the hell are they in there? They're not necessarily high flyers. They're going to take a lot of bumps, but I don't see them on the highlight reel, not one bit. I think that would have been Neville's spot. So I think they could have just maybe kept it a 4-man ladder match. Nothing's wrong
Yeah,
with
just
that.
do
But
a 4 corners match.
And then again, I don't know if they're making this a new tradition, because remember last year we had a 7-man Intercontinental Championship ladder match, which Daniel Bryan won. I
That
don't
was a great
know.
match, though.
Yeah, it was a good match, but the build for that was terrible. It involved everyone just stealing Barrett's title.
Hmm.
That was about it. That's pretty much all I remember, based off last year's
That was funny, though. You gotta admit.
MSG show. I mean, it was cool, but how long could they really keep it going? But I just hope that this maybe doesn't become a yearly thing, because I don't see much longevity out of making it. They might as well have just brought back the Money in the Bank ladder match. That's just my thought.
I personally, like you said, I personally say bring back Money in the Bank at Mania.
Yeah, I think they definitely should because any kind of match that is like a ladder match, they should definitely have it at Mania. But like it should specifically have some kind of point where it builds up to something big. 'Cause when you saw WrestleMania, the Money in the Bank match, everybody had an idea, but it was something to watch because it was unexpected and it was something that could change something long term. When you see
And
this
not
kind of
even
match,
that, it was unpredictable who the winner was gonna be.
yeah, it was always unpredictable. And another thing, it was always like, we look at it and it made an influence. Because in the coming months, you would always look at it and say, oh, what's going to happen? Is it going to cash in? Is he going to cash in? Is he going to cash in? And there will be times where he did, where he didn't. But it always made an influence. But like this kind of match is just like, okay, the IC title changes hands. It doesn't change hands. It's going to be the same thing as it is now, as it is going to be in 6 months. It's going to change. It's not going to change hands. It's pretty much the same. It's not like no one here is going to get a title shot or anything like that. I guess they're just trying to involve more talent, and
And out
especially
of
if you look at
everyone in
all
the match, the only one who deserves a main title push is Kevin Owens.
Kevin Owens. I mean, but if you look at all basically that's I think he's evolved to that level now. He's ready for the world title picture.
He
They
could
should just
cut a
give
promo.
they should, yeah.
He's
And
already
the way
he's
he
already
cuts the
better than
promo,
Reigns. He could cut a promo.
if you've seen this week's Raw, I don't want to spoil it, but if you've seen his promo, the way he's had the interactions with all the people that he had this week, it was pretty interesting. You saw a lot of different things come out, but the only legitimate people in this match that you can really get behind probably Stardust, Dolph Ziggler, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. Because you kind of look at it and say, okay, you can only really narrow it down to those four. Because the other three are just peripheral. They're just there just to be there. But just for like spots and stuff. But we'll see from there.
Sin
But
Cara's
basically, I
gonna
would
do
say
Sin Cara's gonna do something off the ladder. We all know that.
he'll get injured again, probably break his finger, and then give that weird signal. Probably. But yeah, I mean, what I said, well, same thing. I would say probably I'm stuck between Zayn and Owens because Zayn and Owens, I think they're probably going to build something bigger later on.
That's what I think. And that's why I think Owens is going to retain here, so Zayn could win the title in a later match that's going to feel a lot bigger when it happens.
Probably at SummerSlam.
It is. That's probably until SummerSlam there is going to be something there because there's no, they've had feuds in ROH. Why not? So that brings us up to probably one of the highlight matches, and this is pretty interesting. You look at all the matches on the card. This is like on the upper tier cards, that are like upper tier matches that are going to be on the card. You see, because if you see, there's like the following three matches after that are like main event caliber matches. But to see that how they were from like 2 years ago to now, they've evolved. Like the women's division has evolved significantly. Especially now, it's three different NXT superstars. Specifically, I'm talking about the triple threat match for the Divas title, which supposedly, from what I'm hearing, they're going to give it a change on the design after Mania. But again, that's just rumors coming out this week. We'll see how it plays out. But I just want to say the same thing. What do you guys think for this match? Three NXT stars, three NXT greats, the three of the four horsewomen. Who do you guys think is going to win the belt?
Oh, it's a tricky call. I don't know if I kind of want to see Charlotte retain and then not Becky, Bailey get her call up and maybe win the title on her first night, kind of like Paige did, which would be kind of freaking awesome. I think they're setting up Bailey Asuka for Takeover to be kind of Asuka's winning moment. And I think he might actually, well, she might actually end up winning the belt, so Bailey could have that call up. Notice how everything's just happening at the same time. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the way that they have it, it really does come down to who they feel is gonna be like for the future, like long term. Who's gonna be there for long term? Who's gonna make it for the long term? Like who's gonna make an impact?
Well,
Um,
my pick, Sasha, just for the
I agree.
fact that
Yeah, I'm
Triple
with
H,
you.
Triple H was high on her in NXT, and call her up. It's her time to basically get the title already. Out of all three, she deserves.
I mean, yeah, the way that they have it, there, it looks like they're kind of pushing to have Sasha win the belt because there's a lot of following behind her, a lot of her merchandise sells. If you notice that a lot of her merchandise sells. Everybody's either got the boss T-shirt, they've got the little
The
uh
sunglasses, the chain.
yeah, the nuts and all that stuff, and also the sunglasses too. And those are a trademark for her, and a lot of people have a big following behind her. Even though she's a heel, which is crazy.
I don't think she's a heel on
Yeah,
main
yeah, I
roster.
feel
I
like
think she's a face now.
yeah, the way that they have it is kind of like she has such a following now. That's it. It doesn't even matter. She could be like she could play the part of a heel, but she'll be a perfect face too. You know?
That's another thing that in the build up, it's been really good. You kind of have everyone contrasting because with their NXT history, and then you have Charlotte as like the egomaniacal champion entitled heel, and then you have Banks with her own
Banks is Bank.
self-entitled attitude with the
Banks is,
whole
Banks
boss
is Bank.
thing. Yeah, and then you have Lynch, who's been like the on fire, just pure baby face, who actually I kind of do want to see win the match, get her moment, but the internet's going to be crying for Sasha Banks, so I think WWE tends to listen to the fans most around this time of year, and maybe they'll give her, this time. What
Well,
would
it's
actually
not
be
even the
sick,
internet. It's just the fact that Sasha is talented.
yeah, what
She
would
is.
actually be What would actually be sick is if Banks wins, maybe Bailey comes up on the main roster, or maybe Charlotte retains, Bailey comes up on the main roster, maybe beats Charlotte, and then maybe they have a fatal four-way at Extreme Rules involving all members of the Four Horsewomen.
Yeah, the way that they have it is kind of like they're definitely building towards the four horsewomen, and it's going to happen. We haven't talked about Becky Lynch. It seems like she's being excluded from the conversation, but I think Becky, she's got talent too.
She
It's just
does.
it's just the way that they have her. It's not. I mean, if you noticed, she's been facing Charlotte in the last two pay-per-views. She's held up pretty well. If you look at
But she hasn't won because of Ric Flair.
yeah, she's always had. There's always some kind of interference, and plus you gotta look at this match. Is there gonna be interference with Rick? Will he have a role in this match? I feel like there's gonna be some kind of spot with Rick doing something, and then someone doing something really hilarious. But yeah, it's gonna be
I
pretty
have a,
interesting.
I have a feeling Snoop Dogg's gonna come out.
Yeah, maybe they could have some kind of thing. Snoop Dogg is in Banks' corner. Rick's in what'd you call it? Rick is with Charlotte.
But who's in Becky's?
Yeah, but they said Mick Foley supposedly, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. Especially with Noelle Foley. Supposedly there was the recent podcast.
Oh yeah,
I don't
she
know.
supposedly is trained to be a diva.
That's rumors supposedly, but you just have to take it for its word right there. But nonetheless, they said that supposedly after this night, they're rebranding the Divas division, basically making a
Going
new
back to
belt
the women's title.
back to the women's. And I'm glad for that. I'm thankful for that. It's like thank
It
God, finally.
should be like that. Should have been like this from the get-go. I don't know
I
why it took
actually
them so
saw the
long.
layout of the title too.
And supposedly, yeah, they said they're gonna keep it the same as the actual WWE title, just a different strap and
It's gonna
smaller
be
smaller plates.
white. It's a
No
white
freaking
strap.
butterfly.
It's a white
White
strap
and red
with
and
pink.
black. Red or pink?
I heard pink.
Supposedly, yeah, there was like a little WWE on WWE 2K16. There was a little screenshot where the people they made like a guess of it. It was like the same thing as the WWE title, just on the bottom it said WWE Women's Championship on the side. But
I'm
we'll see
happy
as
with
time
that.
goes on. Yeah, I mean it's a great move by WWE. They should definitely do that. And that leads us into our next match. Or actually, this is like the headliner. So I don't know if you guys want to say this. We can talk about. Well, this is the three big major matches. They got Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar. They have Triple H and Roman Reigns, and then they have Shane and Taker. If you look at
Let's
these
start
two,
with we'll start with the
yeah,
Ambrose match.
Ambrose match. Or how about when we do this? We'll talk also because it really it intertwines a little bit. Because 2 years ago at WrestleMania, the Shield made their debut. They competed as all together as a trio against another set of opponents. Now you pretty much got the same situation, but now it's just they're separate. Everybody's separate now. Seth is pretty much injured, but he's probably gonna come back. We'll have to see when. And basically, Roman has his own match in a high caliber match with Triple H, and Brock has his match with another member of Shield, Dean Ambrose. So we'll talk, I guess, first about the no holds barred street fight with Ambrose and Lesnar. So right off the bat, I'm asking you guys again, what do you guys think is without any analysis, without anything, what do you guys think is the winner for this match? The Beast
Lesnar.
versus Ambrose.
I say Ambrose.
I say Lesnar.
Yeah, I say Lesnar too. Because if you look at
Cause yeah,
Actually, the reason why I'm saying Ambrose, I have a feeling that Wyatt's going to do a run-in to build Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar finally.
I mean, you got to take into account Luke Harper's injured now. That's really crazy now that he got injured. Like from what I'm hearing, they're trying to do like a Braun Strowman versus Brock at a SummerSlam, which
good
is kind of
God,
like
that's
again,
gonna suck.
and that's the same exact reaction that everybody is kind of looking at. They're kind of looking at it saying, really, we're really just gonna have and that quick. It seems like WWE. It seems like WWE specifically Vince and Kevin Dunn. They're kind of shoving these things down our throat. Like they're saying, okay, take these new guys, just take them now, please, please. You see, basically, all the different guys. You see Roman, which we're gonna get to in a couple of minutes. You see, you also see Eva, another person. Basically, they're just trying to force it on us. It's like we're not really gonna fall for that. We have to actually get invested into these people, then we can get behind them.
You have to get used to
Like,
them.
you really can't do that. But I mean, if you see Dean Ambrose compared to Roman Reigns, he's probably the only face that really has a big following. And a lot of people actually fall. They really have a big following for Ambrose. Do you guys think this is gonna be kind of like a build for Ambrose so that he can get a title match?
I personally say he should have got the title already.
Yeah, something tells me that what they want Reigns to have, like what they want Reigns to have is basically what Ambrose has, and that's the big crowd support and all this and that. If Ambrose was in the main event against Triple H at Mania, I don't think anyone would really be seeing this as sort of a throwaway main event. Granted, they tried to salvage that a little bit with Roadblock, but it was done in such a way that was like, yeah, Ambrose ain't winning the title. We all know that, and
But
that's
that,
that's
yeah,
just kind of how it's been. But Ambrose has been kind of on a tear, and I think Reigns, they're gonna just try to keep putting him over as a babyface, and just the story that they're telling, you could just tell that he's gonna win the title from Triple H. I don't know where Ambrose is going to lie in this kind of movement. I don't know if maybe they'll feud over the title. I don't know if one will maybe turn on the other, but I wouldn't want them to damage Ambrose's popularity right now because I think I see a lot of his merchandise selling. They could be jeopardizing that if they ever turn him heel. Reigns is just better off as a natural heel. He could be like a juggernaut kind of bad guy. He's just fit for that role.
Reigns is
And then,
better off doing stuff that doesn't have to do with getting a positive crowd reaction.
yeah. I mean, if you look at WWE, like let's take Eva Marie for example, because if you look at Eva Marie and Roman Reigns, they have one big intersect. Like they have one thing that always has them in common: the fact that the crowd reaction is always different from the way they're being pushed.
yeah,
The upper higher ups they kind of say, oh, these guys are something, and then the way that they have it is like, oh, there's something else, which isn't cool. But like if you see Eva, like the way that they have it, they're kind of they it's the same thing. They're kind of forcing it and saying, oh, take this person, but at the same time they're not putting the pieces together. Like we're fans. I mean, we're fans. We kind of look at it and we say, oh, this is how they should book it. This is how they should book it. And of course we like a booker. Any booker can say something different. They can say, oh no, all the fans don't really know what they're talking about. But we as fans know, okay, that when something is not the right call, it's not the right call. And you see, it's just like it can't happen like that. There's something wrong, and there's clearly something wrong. But why is it? Why are they continuing to do this? It's like they're being stubborn. It's like being a dead horse, saying, "Oh, please take this person. Please, please do something with this." But what can we do? And another thing, they're kind of saying, okay, that if the crowd isn't behind them, that's good. That means there's a reaction. Not really. I mean, if it's like if a crowd's not behind you, there's a reason for that. And they're just saying that, oh, like for example for Eva, they're saying, oh, the crowd hates her.
Yeah,
At the same
because
time, they're
the
like,
crowd
oh,
does.
yeah, and they're like, oh, that's the best thing. That's good. That means that she's a good heel. No, she sucks at wrestling. That's why. No
If
one likes her
you're,
because of the fact that
if
she
the
can't.
only memory people have of you is botching everything, that's not a good memory.
Her name is Botchamania, basically. If you were to follow her straight up to that would be Botchamania right there for sure. Because she is just every single thing is just like you suck at wrestling basically. When you look at her, it's like how can you really get behind someone like that? I mean, Roman, of course, he has his reasons. I mean, people hate him. Mostly men. They'll probably just get jealous because their girlfriend's probably crying like a little schoolgirl about this guy, and they're like, damn, like
Well,
that's
the thing
fucked
is,
up.
people hate Roman because he can't cut a promo, and he's doesn't have like a great move set.
Yeah, but he got development. I mean, with development, he could probably change that.
Yeah,
Could he be as big as The Rock? I don't think so. Maybe
The
we'll
Rock
see.
has been training him on the mic though, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean,
So
he needs some
he has been improving. I could say that.
guidance for sure. But I mean, so I guess we can go straight into Triple H and Roman Reigns. For this match, what do you guys think? I mean, we pretty much looking at it saying we know what the result's gonna be, but at the same time, we're like, okay, maybe there could be something. Because if you really think about this match and the Shane McMahon and Undertaker match have some things in common storyline wise. They could have one thing go one way and another way go another way, and then they intersect at some point. Because if you really think about it, looking at these two matches, if Triple H wins, the Authority is still there. They still have a presence. They're still doing something. And on the other side, if they have Shane win, it's kind of like, okay, now there's the opposing side. Now Shane and the Authority. Could they be doing something there? Or could they have Roman win and then basically just have Shane lose? So I think these two matches are kind of dependent. What do you guys think about that?
Um, I as much as all three of us usually agree on stuff, I actually don't agree with you on this one, Sal.
Really, really.
Yeah, that's a very
Amazing.
rare thing that we don't agree on something, all three of us.
That's good.
The reason why I don't agree is because I don't think these two matches have anything to do with each other.
Really.
Yeah, because
I do see I do see a correlation though.
I do, but not what us diehard fans know. Like we see stuff that the newbie fans don't see because we grew up with actual storylines that made sense and actually mean something. Like
That's
the
a
reason
fact.
why don't think that the two matches will coexist with storylines, but it's just something like I can't really describe it. It's something that us diehard fans know that new fans don't, to be honest. It's hard to explain.
I'll step in here. I think I think Sal was onto something. It is funny how the outcomes of either match can go either way. But I think anything that happens in this match is overshadowed by Shane and Taker because it's freaking control of the company. If Shane wins and, I know Vince said if Taker loses, this is his last WrestleMania. he was very key to not say, oh, this is your final match, your career is over, it's just your last WrestleMania. I think they're probably building to maybe Taker Cena at SummerSlam, and maybe they'll have Cena help Shane win. But if Shane wins and he gets creative control, like, what's to stop him from reinstating Taker or undoing anything that basically Vince or the Authority has put together? Triple H wins by like a fluke victory or something like that. What's to stop Shane from coming out at the end of the night and stripping Triple H of the title or something like that? That's just the logical. That's just the gap in the storyline logic that's just kind of overriding what will probably be a thriller match between Shane and Taker. Sometimes I do think that WWE is just trying a little too hard to tell the same story, and they're doing it at Reigns' expense. And this is pretty much like last year, except this time you don't have Rollins and a briefcase to bail you out this time. This time, Reigns is kind of going in hardcore. I don't really know where his character lies on the heel-face spectrum. They've given him a little bit more of an edge recently, but it seems like maybe they could be setting up a heel turn, which could be a good way to go. Maybe they'll do a double turn. You never know. It basically Triple H loses his championship and his power, and all in one night. I mean, that could be something that we could look at him sympathetically, and maybe Reigns will turn into an egotistical champion. And when Rollins returns, that may help him get over more as a babyface, because he's going to be gunning right for Reigns. So they could switch things around a little bit with the same players and make the storylines a lot different than they are with the better product,
True.
as opposed to what they're shelling out right now. I
wanna
don't
add to
really
that, too.
know. Yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen. It's something inside of me just tells me they're gonna just do the boring, predictable thing, and Reigns is gonna win because Triple H has made his life a living hell, and the Authority, and that whole bull. You
And
know,
everyone will boo him probably at
Well,
Mania.
if you also look at it, they're giving Reigns right now the Daniel Bryan treatment.
They basically are, and I think they have the assumption that it's gonna end with Roman Reigns holding the title high up over his head, but with one difference: everybody's just gonna be throwing shit at him.
Yeah, because if you remember, Bryan had to win a match to get into a title match.
And he
Reigns
earned it.
didn't.
I mean, yeah, and this guy, and they kind of like give him a silver spoon up his ass, basically. They kind of just shoved it up his ass, saying, "This guy's the future. This guy's the future." But then that that brings up that same question: is he ready? But it's kind of interesting too. I want to add to Nick's point that there's also another connection too with Seth Rollins. Because if you notice, the past few months, like ever since they started getting booked, these three people, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose, have all been booked, and they've been linked in some way. Whether it was they fought against each other, whether they're fighting with each other, or there's something going on, they have some kind of correlation. So you also got to take into account, of course, the fact that when Seth Rollins comes back, what's going to happen?
Oh, he's going
Because
straight for Roman.
yeah, and what's going to be the picture going to look like? Is Roman going to be a good guy? Is he going to be the bad guy? Is he going to be is he going to be the neutral guy? Is he going to be the
It's
anti-hero?
basically going to be the same thing that everyone thought was going to happen at this year's Mania, but Rollins got injured. It's going to be, except it's going to be flipped. The original one was going to be Rollins as the heel, Reigns as the face, Dean as the neutral. Now it's going to be flipped to Roman as the heel, Seth as the face, and Ambrose is still going to be neutral.
but Ambrose is arguably the company's top babyface.
Yeah.
I don't really see him as a neutral role, so he kind of could be pushed in that what they want Reigns to be, like the point I made earlier. And I don't know, because another interesting thing is I don't know which match is going on as the main event. I don't know which match is going on before the main event, because
The last time I heard, Taker Shane was the main event. That's the last time I heard earlier today.
That's kind of how that's how it should be, because the Taker Shane goes on and Shane gets control of the company.
Oh, he's gonna have a celebration
Event of the show. What's to really stop him from just doing whatever he wants with the championship? I think Taker Shane does have to end the show, because then you could go into Raw with the aftermath of whatever happens.
with Shane opening the show if he wins.
Yeah, and with that from with that speculation that at the end of the night, what's gonna happen? Like are they gonna have the authority still there? Are they gonna have a presence? Something's gonna happen. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting the way that you see it being booked. There's always going to be some kind of thing that's going to link it to something else. This whole match with Taker and Shane, it's going to have an effect with what's going to happen with Triple H and
And
Roman. It could
to
be
be
the same
honest,
thing.
you know how matches are usually predictable? Like
Yep,
fans can predict who's gonna win.
yep.
Shane and Taker, you can't predict.
You really can't, because when you look at it, you're like, okay, he lost against one guy, that's Brock Lesnar, one of the most legit people, and when he lost, it was shocking. But at the same time, when you look at it after a while, you kind of think it's worth it. It was okay because Brock he deserves it. When you look at
And,
Shane, you kind of
and
say,
plus,
okay, does
Taker was
Shane
out. Taker
really
was out of
deserve
shape that match too.
it? Because well, I
How
mean,
up?
we can
Yeah,
we can actually connect that straight into this too, because that's pretty much the last match also.
yeah,
But I mean, if it was the last match, there's gonna be some high spots. Do you guys really think there's gonna be something big, like a Mick Foley type of deal?
yeah. I see. I mean, it's Shane McMahon. I mean, he's showing that he could fight like a mixed martial arts style and
He has
go
been
high
training with
flying stuff.
the Gracie
Uh,
family.
Yeah,
yeah,
Gracie and I think with some other private people too that have been actually helping him too with that.
Yeah, he was training with the Gracie family for a little bit too. They said.
And this past Monday on Raw, they kind of opened up with the big segment.
Yeah,
And I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, that's basically how they started off. I think they should have ended it with that, but we'll have to see what happens. But
good. Can't wait to watch Rhino.
yeah, I'm telling you, this Raw, it was kind of like it was a
this
mix
was
of.
a this was a great go home Raw actually.
This one, nah, I think it was totally ass backwards. Like they should have ended it with this and started
No,
with
no,
that.
but I'm
Cause
saying, not saying it was a great go home Raw though. It was a great show.
like the whole show.
Yeah, I think it was good.
No, I disagree. I disagree completely. It was just, I
Going
mean,
into Mania though, this was one of the better Raws going into Mania though for the past couple years.
I agree. I mean, it did build something. I think they could have gone another route where they had like how the traditional setup where they had all the big players come out and then they had some kind of correlation. They could
Yeah,
have done something like that. Like I was actually predicting something like, oh, all the big match people they come out like Ambrose, Reigns, Brock, Triple H, Taker, and Shane. They have some kind of thing where one guy starts, another guy comes in, does something. There's some kind of
yeah,
altercation, stare
I
down,
know what you
whatever.
mean.
I was thinking something like that, but they ended it with how
Don't
it ended.
don't say nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to say nothing. The way that
Me,
it happened. I
me
mean,
and
when
you
you see
saw
Nick,
it.
yeah, when you see Nick, you'll see. You'll see what I'm talking about. But
I hate being an outsider.
yeah, but I mean,
Hey,
nonetheless,
hey,
let me ask
sometimes the outsider isn't that bad. Just ask
you. Yeah,
Kevin
it
Nash
is.
and Scott Hall.
Yeah, that worked for about 2.5 years.
But yeah, I mean, well, if you look at this match, what do you guys think?
We're still talking about Roman and Triple H, right?
Well, Roman
No,
Triple
take
H,
your Shane.
yeah, Roman Triple H were pretty much set. I think it's mostly predictably everybody pretty much agrees that it's going to be Roman that's going to win,
Yeah,
but it could be
unfortunately.
Triple H. I think we're all pulling for Triple H to win because at this point we're kind of looking at it saying Roman's not ready yet. He shouldn't have that moment, but they'll probably do that at some point. For this
Well,
match,
for Taker Shane, uh, this is actually one of the hard. This is the hardest match to predict.
I don't have a hard time actually. I'm gonna go out and just say, I think Shane is gonna win,
Yeah,
not on his own, but I think Cena is going to play a factor and maybe cost Taker. That's the confusing thing about this match. You already know it's in Taker's hometown. He's going to be relentlessly cheered by an arena full of 100,000 people. That's a noise that's going to be hard to ignore. But at the same time, I do think Cena is going to play a factor because really, I think while Taker's going to be the hometown guy, everyone is going to be rooting for Shane because Shane presents this new, fresh storyline perspective. Everyone's tired of the authority. This is their way out of that. It can keep Shane McMahon on television. It's just a win-win all around, and it can
right.
also push Taker Cena for SummerSlam or maybe even WrestleMania of next year. I don't know
Right.
what's gonna
Nick.
happen, but
Here's a name drop that Nick will remember. The outcome of this match will be predicted by the Mean Street Posse, Shane's little goons.
Oh God.
Remember
They'll
them?
probably one will probably go through the French announce table. The other one will probably go through the Spanish announce table because everyone goes through the Spanish announce table. I don't know what's
It's not a
gonna happen to
WrestleMania
That's
the.
known
without
as
them.
a table alley or broken table alley. That whole area there with the smash table. It's
Yeah.
always been broken in, and there's always something going on there. But
Well,
There's gonna be a lot of spots in this match. You know, Shane is a bump taker. He's
Nick,
going through the cage, he's going off the cage, going through the tables.
you saw?
I see
Did you
everything
see?
just happening.
Did you guys see the meme with the big jumbotron and Shane saying, "I'm gonna jump off that"?
no, I didn't see that.
There's a meme.
It does have a tradition of jumping off Titantrons. I don't know if the WrestleMania one will be too. Well, it would be a crazy sight if he does jump off that jumbo screen, but I don't know.
Let's take a recap of all the different spots that he did. If you look at let's say for example King of the Ring, which nearly killed him. Kurt Angle, what you call it, belly to bellies him straight through a pane of glass. First time
Twice.
botches, yeah, but first time botches. He lands on his head, almost breaks his neck, goes into a concussion almost. Actually, did go through a concussion. Second time it happened, he went through bleeding everything, and that's how loyal he is to the business. Like he's willing to do that just to get a reaction.
What about the Steve Blackman one?
Steve, oh, that was even worse. Like you seen that, and
That
the way
was
that he landed,
SummerSlam 2000. Yeah, he fell off the like the very top. He also kind of did that same thing on Backlash 2003, hanging off the Titantron.
Against Big Show? Or
No,
was it Kane?
I think no. Kane was the ambulance match or the Last Man Standing. I forgot which stipulation it was, but that was also a really good match too.
Which is the one when Test came out and basically helped him?
That was Backlash 03.
That's the one against Big Show.
wait, which one was the what was the spot for Backlash 03? Like he hangs off the set and
He
lands
basically
on
drops an elbow.
off what
Yeah.
the set.
Off the top of the set.
Also similar as Steve Blackman, where he's like on the very top and he lands.
Yeah, but
Not as good though.
the one with Blackman, Shane was like the heel trying to run away, and he got caught with the guy with the kendo stick, and he basically just falls off the stage because he's got nowhere to go. This spot was him, looking to take out the big bad guy, and he basically just sacrificed his body to do so.
Damn, it's pretty, and to see that height, that's pretty, it's pretty scary. Like a
And
man
he's a
could kill
good,
himself.
what, 40 feet up? 50 feet up?
And that could kill him, man. Like the way that he landed, I'm surprised he didn't break a pelvis
Well, you
or
notice that he always lands flat.
yeah, he lands straight up, like just like that. But hopefully they could do something where it's like it's not going to be detrimental to them. But I don't think they're really going for that. This is the biggest show of the year. They want to do something big. But if you look at Taker too, Taker did a couple of spots too, where he tossed Edge off the top turnbuckle all the way down into two tables on the floor. What else? There was I think another spot too. There was a couple more spots I think where he choke slams him straight through the ring, and then the whole thing goes up, inflamed, whatever. Oh, he sent Edge to hell or whatever, quote unquote. But that was pretty interesting too, to see that. But for Undertaker's age, do you think he's gonna be doing any spots too?
He might.
Do you think he wants to?
Probably.
I mean,
If it's his hometown crowd, maybe he wants to spruce it up a little bit.
yeah, but it's also another thing too. Like he's so loyal to the company. Vince is giving him basically creative control. Like it's kind of a thing where it's like, okay, you're a loyal guy. I'll do whatever you want. We'll do it. So I think they it kind of feels like they want like Taker wants to take this one easy, but at the same time he wants to make it a really good match. But yeah, I mean, again, it comes up with that unpredictable factor. Regardless of what happens in this match, whether it's good spots, bad spots, whatever, it's still going to come down to that bell ringing. Who's going to come out? Who's going to win after that? But I think we can all agree that there will be some kind of.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, it's going to be good for sure, and there's going to be some kind of interference. I feel like the same thing. Something is going on. Like with Cena, especially if you see on his Instagram account, if you follow that, he's posting all kinds of pictures, and it's like random. Like he would just post random pictures like as a tease or something. And he's been posting a couple of pictures about WrestleMania, and it's like, are you rooting for something?
He's the face of WWE. He's bound to post some stuff about Mania. My only thing is, Could you imagine how awesome the stipulation would have been had Taker had still had his undefeated streak, and they could have upped the ante even more if they had said, like, basically he puts his streak versus his career on the line, and, you know, against Shane having control of the company if he wins. The stipulation could have been a lot more hardcore, but given that what happened, you know, I'll take this. I'll savage for this. But I just can't help but having dreams about what could have been.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It could have been much better, but you know, this what they're working with, what they're working with. You know, they're really pretty much stuck. They're
And
pretty much.
again, yeah, if you had told me back in January that Taker Shane in a Hell in a Cell match was going to headline WrestleMania, I probably would have laughed.
Yeah, I would have told. I would have said the same thing. I would have said, "Yo, you're bullshitting. Like that's bull crap. It's not gonna happen."
Like, that's such a stretch. That's not happening.
Yeah, but the way that it happened now, it's actually going on. It's it's surreal. It's really is surreal. Like the way that I announced it, Vince was the only one that knew it, and he was the only one that announced it. When he announced it, it was a big deal. It was like one of those shocks from like back in the day when wrestling wasn't how should I say as
Public?
as public or as much as backstage enriched. Like how all the information is pretty much out there now, where everything is like everybody's at everybody's hands. They know everything right off the bat. Where it's unpredictable basically, and that was kind of that was pretty interesting to see that factor come in. But this with the same thing with this, like they pretty much haven't announced any spoilers. If you notice, like there hasn't been any different kind of like backstage news about this match. They don't know who's gonna win. They don't know anything. It kind of brings back that old unpredictability, which is good for the business, and it's pretty good for especially this kind of match. Whereas previous WrestleManias, we could have looked at a match and said, okay, it's predictable. We already know what's gonna happen, and we just sit there to see the whole match, and then once it happens, boom, we're off. But this kind of like we'll kind of look at it and we'll kind of say, oh, that really happened, like man, you know. But nonetheless, yeah. So basically, that was the whole WrestleMania card. Are we leaving anything out? I think, or
I I want to see any surprises,
yeah.
which is probably going to happen the night after.
Yeah, and another thing, WrestleMania Raw, the Raw is going to be one big event. As every other WrestleMania Raw after, it's always something big. People are always there. It's a live crowd. Pretty much the crowd is mostly diehard wrestling fans, so you know that the reactions are going to be pretty good. People will be excited about it, and hopefully they make it a good show. But that comes in time. Again, that's WrestleMania weekend though, so we'll have to see. Well, right now Takeover is going on. Right now, pretty much, if you look at it,
It hasn't been disappointing at all.
it hasn't. It's been pretty good. I mean, we don't want to say anything right now, but basically right now it's at probably the midpoint of the show
Just
right
about
now.
mid.
And you start seeing a match that's been, and you're like seeing a performance right now where something is going on. But we'll have you see that there. But anyway, this is our WrestleMania preview, I guess. And pretty much, I think that's all it is. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, and also be sure to check us out on on the Facebook page. Give us a like, follow, whatever. Also for more different kind of live stream updates and all that other stuff. And also be sure to check out Pro Wrestling Opinion. Be sure to check out the Nick's site on there, ProWrestlingOpinion.com. There's many different sections as you see. There's also different kind of columns. Lucha Underground they cover. They also cover PWS, many other promotions, TNA, ROH, throwback pay-per-views, and also a whole bunch of other stuff. Check it out. And I guess that's pretty much us saying good night.
Good night, guys.
Anything else? Yep.
Later.
See you guys.